For this tutorial, I will show you guys how to use the force action. First, we need a rigid body. Go here, physics, rigid body. There we go. And then, we need a Genesis Code script, so just drag it in like that. And then we'll set the action to force. Now, what's our action object? Which object do we want to apply the force to? Well, let's just set it to the current object, meaning the cube object, because this script is inside it. You can set the force to a high value, like 1000. And, okay, there we go. I think that's it. It will apply the force, and it will throw it. You can think of it like you're throwing the object or pushing the object. You're kind of applying some type of force so that it will move in another direction. Now, you remember with the teleport action that you had to set the condition to always and set the origin object to itself in order to make it move. But with force, all you have to do is set the condition to start, and it will automatically apply the force without you having to put in any origin object. And when you put in a value for force, you need to make sure that it's a high value, like 1000 or 500, because those values typically will apply some kind of like movement. If you set it to something low, like maybe 10, it's barely gonna move to that direction. You can only see it moving because of the gravity. But if you take the gravity off, it's barely moving. It's very, very slow. So that's another thing. If you turn on gravity, it's actually like you're pushing it and it's falling down. You're pushing it off a building. Think of it like that. Without gravity, it's kind of like moving in a vacuum. It's like moving with no friction involved. So that's how forces work. It's very similar to the teleport action, except for the fact that you only need to do it once, and it will apply like a movement. It's not going to move it to another location, it's going to move it towards a specific direction. Now, since we have some extra time, I will go ahead and talk to you guys about variable displays, which is a really, really new feature that I've implemented for Genesis Code. It'll probably come out on version 1.7. Right now it's in the approval process in the Unity Asset Store, so when it finally releases, you can definitely be sure to update it and get that feature. Okay, so if you open this, the GC optimized scene, don't save, you should have like a list of variables, right? You should see a variable screen object with variable text. You can also access it via prefab. And what this does, I've basically made it easier for you, because I've already added in all the variables. All you have to do is like replace the words and text. Right. So how it works is that you have a list of variables. They're being displayed through this. Oops. They're being displayed through that screen. And this variable text object, it's basically a text it's a text object. I've inputted the text script here, so you can actually change it. kind of like what you would normally do when you're adding text to a Unity game. But here, I've added the script variable display. I've dragged it in. Okay. In this one, you will set it to the available text. So like if this one has like text, if this object has text in it, you can actually use that as an option, and you can drag it in, or you can like select it. Over here, you will see that there are certain variables with parentheses. I recommend keeping them in parentheses, but you can actually change the name. So maybe let's set this to score. Let's set this to damage. And just let's keep the last one as is. So what will happen? Oops. I made a typo. You can see that like only variable 3 shows a number. When you increase this number, it's actually going to change the value in the game real time as well. So 687. But how come these aren't showing the variables though? Variable 1, variable 2. That's because they take on the name of the variable. They look for a variable with that name. But because you renamed all your variables, they're not going to use that as a value. If you set this to score, or yeah, oops, well, you can't change it in the game, it looks like. If I set this to score and I set this to damage, it's going to adopt those values. So I can change this. See? So essentially, you can rename your variables. You can name them to something like score or damage. You can set the values. These are the starting values. Okay. You can set these as like whatever variable you want. All you have to do is put in the name. So if that was called let's say for example high score, we would change this to high score to display it on the game. And then we would do the same thing for variable 2 and variable 3. And when this name basically if this name is the same as this name, this variable name is the same as this variable name, it's going to adopt those values. So let's say for example hello. See, even when it's not in parentheses, it's still gonna obtain those values because the text is absolutely the same. So that's how the variable display script works so far. There is more to it that I will definitely cover in another video. But for now, I think this is a good stopping point. I hope you guys learned a lot from this video, and I'll be sure to upload some more soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.